Hey folks, Dagan here. Welcome to another little episode in my guitar series. And today we're talking about a very cool guitar. I've been asked about this guitar quite a bit because I've been harping about it loads in the past 10 years on the PMT channel. Back in those days, this is my Frankenstein. It's not an EVH one. It wasn't custom made. I made this guitar when I was 16 years old. It's hard to play, as you heard in the intro, but I'm very bloody proud of it. So let's get into it. It just about stays in tune. Like if you tune it to open chords and then go to play some notes higher. But it does the job. It completely does the job for me. If you're new here, I'm Dagan and I like old 80s things, and especially Mr. Edward Van Halen. I miss that whole, I'm not old enough to be a part of the 80s, but I love it so much. Mostly because of the daft guitar playing and the guitars themselves. So Eddie has been an influence. Well, my little history with Eddie is the way I started playing guitar, Angus Young, Steve Jones, rock and roll kind of things. It wasn't until a couple of years later that I saw a video of Edward playing a guitar, one of these, which I'll talk about more in a second, the Kramer 5150, and I had no idea what he was doing. I'd never seen anyone play a guitar like that on the entire planet, and I thought in my head it was the guitar. I thought it was a Kramer, so that's why I love Kramer so much. And I was like, oh, if I get a Kramer as a kid, I can play all this daft stuff, all that crazy stuff. But delving a bit deep, the way my mind works and the way it worked as a kid, guitar playing is cool as one thing, but the second thing is messing with things and making things your own. I was always like that, even as a kid. If I got something like a toy, I would always have to customize that toy to make it more myself. And when I slowly got into the way Edward Van Halen's brain worked, that in fact he made his own guitar, I was like, well, that's a challenge for a little kid, isn't it? Something like that, I'm sure it is. Anyways, 17 years ago, I made this. This was back in the olden days. Like, I was 14 when I first started playing guitar. I had 2 years of having fun with some cheap SG copies and my first guitar, which I have a video prior about here on the channel. But then I found Eddie, and I found this guitar. And this was a time where I think the only EVH guitars you could buy was like the Charvel Art Series ones. I'll put pictures up here. And they were quite a bit of money. Before EVH really had a guitar brand, they made the amps and stuff, but not really the guitar brand and stuff. So after finding out that Eddie made his, this ended up being a thing. There's notes in there somewhere. I did check yesterday, but that's the thing. When you build your own guitar like this, I didn't build it completely from scratch. I bought the parts. Unless you know what you're doing, they can be a bit of a bitch to play. These days, though, you can buy a brand new Frankie in the Striped series, as well as a plethora of other awesome EVH guitars. Brand new. You haven't got to mess with them. From the factory, the Frankies and stuff play fantastic. And the best place to buy stuff like that is from today's sponsor, which is, of course, Aint. They have a ton, well, they have everything EVH, from the guitars, the amps, the Frankies, the new SA126s, and the rest of it. But not only guitars and stuff. Sorry, I had to interject and stop myself for a second there, because I need to tell you where I'm getting today's tone from. It's coming from the Amplitube Tonex, which of course you can also get from the fine folk at Aint in all the different shapes and sizes. I've got mine down here. So it's crazy affordable for these little guys, made by Amplitube, but I'm not using this for this video. It actually comes as a plug-in as well, like the Amplitube whole thing. Basically it's that in a pedal, and this is the, what's it called again? The Brown Sound 7879 Suite, and this is the Feeling Hot 78 patch within that. Let's change that. Let's go to, this is Really Hooked 89. I love the Tonex stuff, it's absolutely awesome. And like I said, all available at Aint, so you can get it and enjoy it. And I suppose still tying in with where to buy stuff and how to create a guitar like this. This body is a Squier body, so if you do want to make your own, start where I started and buy a cheap little Squier Strat or something, without the humbucker to be proper, make it a triple single coil with the regular Strat bridge and stuff. Buy one of them, route it out yourself, just like Ed did. I'll put my favorite suggestions in the description box down below so you can check them out as well. But anyways, back to this guitar. And yes, I have tuned the B down to play that. Back to normal. When you play guitar which is hard to play, like this, this is absolutely it makes you play differently and it makes you play harder and it's more enjoyable. Like when you get things right, it's like, yes, get it. Anyways, back to the guitar. So the only thing I modified prior to this was putting black nail varnish over a vintage SG copy I had and buying a Gibson decal off, I was 14, off eBay and putting it on the headstock. So this was the first big thing, and it created my love for modifying guitars. Like you've all seen my daft Kramers, my new Kramers, my old Kramers, this lovely SG which has 3 humbuckers and phase switches and stuff. That's all me, and that all stemmed from watching Edward and building this guitar as a kid. So the body was a Squier, it's quite thin, the body, a Squier Bullet Strat, I think. Again, like I said before, sorry for the hum by the way, that's the plug-in. It's a legit plug-in with the Tonex thing and it's fizzy just as it should be. So it was a Sunburst Strat body that I just sanded down, and obviously Ed had his humbucker on the bridge, and the only images I had were, because the internet was very primitive back in the late 2000s, I think EVH just released the Custom Shop Frankie, so I got some images with that, but the screen was tiny and stuff, and old pictures back in the Jump video. I watched the Jump video a lot. Had a single coil in, took my dad's router, routed a massive hole out just like Ed's, and that's why there's a little lump there, I'd say, because that's where the single coil originally was. It's just like Ed's, and you have to route around it to make a humbucker fit. You've got to remember, the Frankenstein was the first kind of ever cross-pollination of a Gibson of and a Fender. It had the playability of a Fender with the tremolo and stuff, but that thick sound of a Gibson, and it's iconic. The neck, I believe I asked for a birthday or Christmas or something. It was like £75 off eBay. Maple Fender neck, well, not Fender neck, with the Floyd Rose nut already cut. So that was that good. Under here, where the neck meets the body, is my, I'm not going to show you because I've got short hair and I look ridiculous. I'm a very chubby little child as well. That's got my old Northumberland school bus pass underneath to keep the neck tilt. The neck is tragic right now, but that's through there as well. That's the neck, that's the body. And the paint, I'm really proud of the paint because I believe it was just, I didn't have to redo it or anything. It was just meticulously, I remember thinking, my dad didn't help me around this, it was just me as a kid. You had to sand down, because it wasn't all sanded from the sunburst. There is still some sunburst under this. But the bits where it showed on Ed's, I sanded down so when I knew the white and black went over the top, it wouldn't come through. And I'm kind of proud of it. When you look at it, it looks legit. But when you have it next to an actual Frankie, like one of the replicas, the seagulls are a bit odd and proportionally it's a bit weird. But like I say, I'm not doing this video for praise because I was 14, but I'm bloody proud of myself. That's why I hold this guitar in such high regard. I remember routing the trem cavity as well because the Floyd Rose didn't fit. It was like a Chinese cheap crappy Floyd Rose. It didn't fit back in the day. And I noticed he had the old, before I even knew what it was, the flathead screws, posts. So I got them off eBay as well, as opposed to the more modern Allen key posts for the Floyd. It wasn't until a few years later, when I actually had a job, I bought a Floyd Rose special for it. And this used to be a 2p piece, because I didn't know what a 1971 quarter was or how to get one when I was 14, but now, with having adult money, there's a 1971 quarter drilled properly just next to the trem, just like Ed's. It's the quirky little things for me though. It's the things that I knew what my final result wanted to be, but I didn't know how to achieve it. I knew Ed's pickup cavities were all gross and stuff from years of just playing, so I got loads of dirt from my mum's garden. I remember rubbing it in there with my finger, and it was all brown and gross when it dried. It kind of looked like Ed's. I remember meticulously getting super glue and gluing the loop above the 5-way switch in the middle and like just so it stayed where Ed's stayed. This red single pickup, which obviously isn't active because Ed's wasn't, it's just there for the crack. His is red because of the red bobbins at the time on his guitar, I guess. But I only had red spray paint left over from this. So what I did was I got some Vicks Vapor Rub. If you're American, it's like, you might have Vicks. It's like, stops you having chesty coughs and stuff. I thought that would stop paint going through. So I put Vicks Vapor Rub on all the pole pieces, spray painted it red, left it out to dry. The Vicks Vapor Rub, it's in the name, it's vapor, it just vaporized into nothing. But that actually relicked the pole pieces. So it made them really rusty. And these days I'm like, I bet in the Murphy Lab and the Fender Custom Shop they're putting Vicks chest vapor rub on things to make them rust quicker, or using dirt from the garden to give it that kind of aesthetic. The silver foil on the bottom here, because Ed moved his volume control, the tone control, down a bit, that is duct taped aluminium foil from my mum's kitchen drawer that I just duct taped to the bottom of it and stuff. But from the outside looking in, it's bloody fantastic. I remember going to a home-based store. Home-based is like a UK supply store, paint and gardening stuff, and buying a pot of paint for like £10 just to get this blue. It's probably still somewhere in my garage, like hard as hell, but that's all that was used for. It's just been a work in progress over the years. I've changed and upgraded so many things to make it right in my mind. It could just be an ornament on the wall. Like I say, it still plays like absolute garbage, but I just want it to be good. At some point it will be good. The pickup, it originally had an Iron Gear Hot Slag pickup in it, which is still a cheaper pickup. Great pickup, it's just a bit cheaper. What's in now is a Seymour Duncan 59. Not very conventional Edward, but I knew his original pickup in it was a PAF from a 335, so I was like, that kind of works, and it's bolted directly to the body, obviously. I remember in college, when I was finally old enough to buy cigarettes, I went and bought some Marlboro Reds to burn the cigarette burns in the headstock. Stuff like that. So the only date on it is the date where I was a kid and I thought it was finished. So on the back I've got 18th of the 4th, 2010. What's that, 18th of April, 2010. 15 years ago. And I did that the day I put these on. because I couldn't find these for years. Found some in America, they took months to arrive. Split this one and burnt it just like Ed's and stuff, and I thought, it's perfect, it's finished, I'm finally going to date it. That's way before I put the proper Floyd on it and the pickup and stuff, so it's always been a work in progress, but I'm so attached to this guitar to it. Even the extra holes. I remember drilling the extra holes from Edward changing the tuning pegs so much on his guitar. I just thought I'd put the holes in for the crack. Even the stupid extra holes, like in the back there, from when Ed thought he put the strap button on the back, and the bottom there with all the crazy holes from different times it's been put. Actually, that's a fair shout. The last modification that was done to it was done last year. And that's when I noticed that he had these washers on the eye hooks. Instead of it just being straight into the wood, he had the washers on. So I put some washers on last year, and that's the last thing I've done to it. There's probably going to be more in the future, but I think that's it for now. So if you're a novice guitar builder, and you want to replicate what Ed did, and make his own Frankenstein, make his own guitar, would I recommend it? No. Like I say, in this entire video, my heart is so attached to this guitar, but I'm never going to play it live, because it just won't, it would just, you can probably tell by my sweaty ass forehead. It's one of the hottest days in the UK when I'm filming this video. And this just doesn't like it at all. I restrung this for this video as well, stretched everything in perfectly. The way it's made, the way I put the trem in and stuff, unless you know what you're doing, like don't make it on a whim like I did. What I would recommend to do is do half and half. So you can buy the Eruption, the original black and white from Van Halen 1. That one. You know that one? Buy that one, because a lot of people don't realize that that guitar, it was this guitar, if you're new to the whole Van Halen thing. That black and white guitar with the full pickguard and the single humbucker and the regular Strat style tremolo, that was the original guitar. And what he did was he took the pickguard off, mangled everything in here, sprayed it red and stuff, had a few different bridges before he landed on the Floyd. I would buy one of them and turn that into this, so at least you're starting with an absolutely solid guitar. I think that's kind of all the fun as well. There's a dodgy shaped Floyd Rose retaining nut up top, like the little retaining bar. That's at a wonky angle because Ed's was. There's a duct tape on the back, his bloody eye hooks. Duct tape on the back there, black duct tape for his cable, but grey duct tape in the cavity at the back. All the blockers and stuff is just for this guitar because the Floyd Rose doesn't sit right at all. But grey duct tape in the back, black duct tape on the side. I told you I was a nerd. I told you I was a massive nerd. That's kind of it, I guess. So let's see if it stays in tune. Let's play some more Van Halen riffs, I guess, with the Tone X Brown sound plug-in thing. Every time I drop the bar, I'm terrified it's not going to be in tune anymore. Yeah, it's kind of there. I was going to play that, my mind went blank because there's lots of, the action is ridiculously high. Let's just Spanish fly it. There's so much I want to show you, but I'm just scared it's going to sound crap because of the intonation and the action in the way I play. That pound thing would be pretty cool. Let's see how strong my fingers are then once we go. Actually, let's end with the best riff of all time, and I came prepared because, like I say, it doesn't stay in tune. But if I go... To make the riff sound like the record, you've got to detune the B string, just like you have Running with the Devil as well. And of course, the riff is this. And now before the guitar goes completely out of tune, still hands down the greatest riff of all time. So that, ladies and gents, was my homemade Frankenstrat that I made 17 years ago when I was a mere 16 years old. If you liked the video, hit subscribe and give it a like. If you really like what I do, I also have Patreon, so you can see all the behind the scenes stuff and little extra bits of content which will never go on YouTube, and old stuff from the archive. All that's linked in the description box down there as well. Again, a big, now very sweaty thank you to Andertons for sponsoring today's video. And like I said, all my favourite links are in the description box down there as well. Thanks for watching. I've been Dagan. I'll see you next time.